Today I have a great project for you to do for fall. This is a fun and easy project. You could even do scraps, or you could do Christmas if you'd like. The project I have is on my design wall right here behind me. I'm really excited about this project. I really like how it turned out. Okay, so let's get started and I'm going to show you how this is done. For this project, I'm just going to use squares from a charm pack, and you're going to need 16 5-inch charm squares. And you're going to need 32 2.5-inch squares of a background fabric. Now this collection is mostly Joanna Figueroa from Fig Tree and Company. This is one of her lines, the All Hallows Eve, and I have mixed in some of her greens also from some of her other fall collections. But you're going to want to pick 16 5-inch charms, and you're going to want to lay it out. Now you can lay it out on, just a flat space, or you can lay it out on your design wall like I have here. Now what you're going to do here, you're just going to mark a line from one corner to the other. This is how I always do this, and I just use these little mechanical pencils, and I've just drawn a line. Now lots of people ask me about this booklet that I use, and I do have a video out on this. This is for drawing and cutting with, but I do have a video out on that, and I'll put a link up above for that and one down in the description. But you're going to need 32 of these, and you're going to need to mark them all just like that. Okay, so this is a pretty easy project to do, because all we're going to do, to all 16 charm squares, we are going to take our corners, our squares, and we're going to, pin them into the corners, opposite of each other. And you might want to check your charm squares to make sure that they are 5 inches. Sometimes you have to trim them. And I line them up with the edge of the little pinky, and I go clear out to the edge. Okay. And you're going to do that to all 16 blocks. Then you're going to take it to the sewing machine, and you're just going to sew on the line, just like this. Now here's a little extra step you can do if you want to. If you want to save these little triangles, from here you can sew a 1/2 inch right across there, just like I've done here. After you have that done, you will just trim a 1/4 of an inch. Then you can press these open, and you have a little triangle, a little half square triangle like this. So if you want to save those for another project, you can do that. And then you're just going to press these open. And when you press them open, they're going to look just like this. Once you have all 16 blocks done, then you can just arrange them just like this, with the points, with the triangles coming to the middle, and you're just going to sew them together. So I'm going to sew this to this and this to this. And then you'll do this, and you'll have 4 blocks. So you'll have 4 that look like this. Now, just a little tip here. When you are pressing these, you have to be very careful, because this is on the bias. See how stretchy that is? And you want to be sure you're pressing it and not ironing, or you are going to distort your block and they're not going to fit together very well. So be sure that you are pressing and not ironing. And again, you need 4 of these. Okay, so I'm just going to start out by pinning these together. Now remember again to be careful with this fabric because it's on the bias. So there's that one pinned, and now we're going to just pin this one. After you have that one pinned, then you're going to pin the other one. Okay. I'm going to sew my 1/4 of an inch and I'll be right back. Okay, so I've sewn those together. I'm just going to remove the pins and press one seam to the left and one seam to the right. Okay, I have those pressed to opposite sides. This one's going to the right, this one's going to the left, and I'm just going to pin these together and then sew and press those open. Okay, and there the block is, and also all 4 blocks, and then I'll sew them together. Okay, so I have all 4 blocks done, and now I'm just going to sew them together in a row. Okay, so I got all of the blocks sewn together. They were just these 4 O blocks, and then I decided to add a 1.5 inch border of the background all the way around, and I just did that. I cut off the sides, I cut the side pieces, sewed those on, then I did the top and bottom pieces. Okay, but I want to add a couple of more borders, and I'm going to add a neat little accent strip. So let me show you what I'm going to do. So I'm going to add just a little accent piece, kind of like piping almost. And I'm going to add this going all the way around the quilt. And let me show you what I've done. I've just taken a 1-inch strip because I don't want this to be very big, just a 1-inch strip. And I just folded it in half. Now this fabric has been starched. Just fold it in half, and then I pressed it really good. So it looks kind of like this then. So I'm going to sew the side pieces on first, and then the top and the bottom. And then I'll show you what I'm going to do after that. So I have 3 sides of it sewn on, and I want to give you a couple little tips. So you're just going to lay it right there up to the edge, and then I think it's a little bit easier since this is so thin. I think it's just a little bit easier to use clips. Now the other tip I wanted to share with you, when you sew this on, don't do the full 1/4 of an inch. Do a little bit less than a scant 1/4 of an inch so that the sew line doesn't show when you add the next border, because I'm going to add another border on top of this. Okay, so I'm going to get this sewn on, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to add the other borders. Okay, so I'm going to put on this last border, and it's going to have black squares in the corners and then stripes, and I'll put the binding on last, and the binding will be in black. I like this accent strip, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to finish out these borders. Okay, so I'm just going to put this right sides together. This just stays here because that's just a little accent border. And I'm just going to pin this on, and I have one for each end. I'm just going to pin that on and then press it back. Oh, I am just loving the look of this. Here's that little tiny, almost piping type accent strip. Look how neat that looks. Okay, now I just have to do the other end and add the top and the bottom. Now I have the top all sewn, and I'm loving the way it turned out. I love this little accent piece right there. You can see the other end. Whew. Now just to quilt it and bind it. Okay, so I got everything quilted. Got it. I did spray basting and I quilted it, and I just did straight line quilting. And I just used my walking foot. I think it turned out pretty good. I like how that came out. I really like this accent strip. One of my friends recommended that. She's recommended it to me before and I've never done it. But I like that little splash of color. I think it adds a lot to the table runner. In the comments below, tell me if you've ever made this pattern before. Have you ever done the O's like this before? And if you have, did you make a full quilt or did you make a table runner or wall hanging? I'm curious to know. I have to say I really enjoyed doing this project, and if you decide to do it, I hope you'll enjoy it as much as I have. Until next time, have fun quilting.